They thought the quiet twins in the back were just shy, until a brown belt challenged them to a fight and found himself flat on the mat, humiliated in front of the whole class. What happens next? No one saw coming. Stay locked in, because these twins didn't come to play. They came to remind everyone why you never underestimate the quiet ones. New kids and Guy. The twins enter the dojo. The bell above the dojo door gave a sharp clang as Maya and Malik stepped inside. Twin silhouettes in pressed white GIs, belts neatly looped in silent symmetry. The hardwood floor, polished to a mirror shine, seemed to hold its breath beneath their feet. Every head turned. It wasn't just that they were new. New kids showed up every few weeks. Some eager, some awkward, most forgettable. But these two moved with a kind of quiet power, a grace that didn't scream for attention, yet commanded it all the same. Their eyes scanned the room, calm, alert, unbothered. To most of the room, they were just two black kids entering a dojo in a predominantly white suburb. An anomaly. But in the back corner, where the high-ranking belts lounged like kings, arms folded and legs sprawled, the real tension stirred. Three older black teens, Jaden, Tyrese, and Deshaun, side-eyed the twins with narrowed suspicion. "Fresh meat," Jaden muttered, loud enough for his crew to hear, low enough to keep it under the instructor's radar. Maya caught the glance but didn't respond. Malik adjusted the knot in his belt, gaze never leaving the mirror. Their movements were sharp, practiced, controlled, the kind that couldn't be faked. Still, the mockery rolled on. "Probably think they Jackie Chan in 'em," Tyrese chuckled. Deshaun leaned back on his elbows, looking them up and down like prey. "Watch. They're gonna quit after the first warm-up." The instructor, Sensei Bryant, a tall, tight-lipped man with graying temples, barely acknowledged the twins' arrival. "Line up!" he barked. The class scrambled into rows. Maya and Malik fell in without hesitation. Some of the white belts snuck glances. One kid whispered, "They brother and sister?" Another asked, "Why they look like they already know what they're doing?" No one had answers, but the twins didn't need introductions. They weren't there for attention. They were there for purpose. They stood like stone statues, side by side, eyes forward. The dojo didn't know it yet, but two storms had just walked in. Storms that didn't roar. They whispered. And by the time anyone realized what they were capable of, it would be too late. Because Maya and Malik weren't here to learn how to fight. They were here to remind people of what happens when you underestimate relentless warriors. The warm-up hadn't even begun before the whispers turned into jabs. As Maya and Malik took their place at the end of the line, the traditional spot for newcomers, the atmosphere in the dojo shifted from curiosity to quiet hostility. Their uniforms were too crisp, their posture too confident, and worst of all, they didn't look nervous. Not even a little. That was a problem. "Newbies stand at the back," Tyrese sneered as he passed by, already in mid-stretch. "Y'all act like you own the place." Malik didn't flinch. "Just standing where we were told." Jaden, the ringleader with a cocky grin and a senior brown belt around his waist, smirked. "Y'all sure this is the right class? We don't do after-school babysitting here." Maya glanced at him once. Not a glare, just a look. Measured, calm, the kind of look that says, "You're not ready for what's coming." "You got something to prove?" she asked softly, just loud enough to be heard. Deshaun let out a low laugh. "She talking like she got stripes. Girl, please." Sensei Bryant clapped his hands, calling for the warm-up. The students dropped into jumping jacks and push-ups. Maya and Malik moved with sharp rhythm, breathing steady, motion fluid. Every stretch, every pose, executed like muscle memory. Not a single wasted motion. And yet the mocking didn't stop. "Bet they watched a few YouTube videos and thought they could hang," Tyrese said during lunges. "Probably practiced in their living room," Jaden added, next to the family TV. One of the younger white belts looked over nervously, unsure whether to laugh or stay out of it. The twins said nothing. They didn't roll their eyes, they didn't smile. They just kept moving. When it came time for line drills, Front kicks, reverse punches, low blocks. Maya's technique was so clean, the snap of her GI echoed louder than anyone else's. Malik's form was tight, efficient, deadly quiet. Still, no praise. No nod from the instructor, just side eyes from the back row. "You two ever even been hit before?" Jaden called out. "'Cause it's different when it ain't your brother playing pretend." This time Maya stopped mid-kick. She didn't turn around. She didn't speak. She just smiled, a slow, almost imperceptible curl of the lip. The kind of smile that meant, "Try me." The dojo air buzzed with ego and sweat, but Maya and Malik moved through it like water, untouched, unfazed, undisturbed. Their silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. While the other students talked, smirked, and threw sloppy punches for attention, the twins did the opposite. Their energy was tight, focused. It was the kind of focus that doesn't come from watching a few tutorials or mimicking a movie fight. It comes from years, from waking up before dawn, from training barefoot in basements and garages, from discipline handed down like a family heirloom, from legacy. Maya's sidekicks landed with precision, her knee never dropping, her balance never wavering. Malik's blocks were silent but forceful, bones meeting air with practiced rhythm. While the instructor paced the floor, barely glancing in their direction, the rest of the class couldn't help but notice. Even some of the white belts whispered, eyes wide. "They're really good. Did you see that back stance? Where'd they learn that?" The three senior black belts in the back grew restless. Their taunts quieted, replaced with confusion, then resentment. Jaden scoffed. "Form ain't nothing if you can't fight. Let's see how clean she looks when someone's coming at her for real." Tyrese nodded, cracking his knuckles. "All that perfect form don't mean squat if you can't take a hit." Deshaun, now fidgeting more than flexing, muttered, "They quiet 'cause they scared." But it wasn't fear, not even close. Maya and Malik had been in this position before. Not this exact dojo, not this exact class, but this energy. Oh, they knew it well. Being underestimated, being tested, being dared to prove they belonged. And every time they responded the same way, with results, not reactions. They finished the drills without a single misstep. Not once did they talk back. Not once did they try to show off. Their silence wasn't submission. It was the silence before thunder. Sensei Bryant called a water break. Students scattered toward the benches and water coolers. The twins stayed put, kneeling calmly in sisa, backs straight, eyes closed. They didn't speak, but everyone around them was talking now. And by the end of class, they'd all find out. You don't need to raise your voice when your skill does all the shouting. The silence cracked the moment Jaden tossed his water bottle aside. He'd had enough of the twins acting like ghosts, calm, untouchable, and completely unbothered by every insult he and his crew threw. That kind of self-control? It felt like disrespect, like a challenge. He stood tall in the center of the mat, cracking his neck. "All right then," he called out, voice loud and cocky. "Let's stop pretending." The whole class paused. Even Sensei Bryant looked up. Jaden pointed straight at Malik. Since you like showing off those pretty moves, how about a real test?" A few students oohed under their breath. Tyrese grinned like this was the halftime show. Malik stepped forward, steady, composed. But before he could speak, Maya rose from her seated stance and stepped ahead of him. "He doesn't need to prove anything to you," she said evenly. Jaden laughed. "What? Your sister fights your battles for you?" Maya didn't blink. "We train the same. So if you want to test one of us..." She took one quiet step forward. "You test both." A wave of murmurs swept the room. A girl? Volunteering to spar with a brown belt? Against a guy 6 inches taller and probably 30 pounds heavier? Sensei Bryant narrowed his eyes. "You sure?" he asked, not mockingly, but with genuine curiosity. "I'm sure," Maya said, already tightening her belt. Her voice didn't waver. "All right." The sensei nodded slowly. "Let's see what you got." Jaden smirked as they bowed to each other. "Don't say I didn't go easy." Maya bowed low and deep. "Don't." The mat cleared. The class formed a wide circle. Everyone leaned forward, eyes wide, waiting for what they thought would be a quick and humbling defeat. But then the match began. Jaden lunged first, a sharp jab, testing range. Maya slipped it. Not ducked, not blocked. Slipped. With the ease of someone who'd seen that punch 1,000 times before. He tried again, a sweep this time. She jumped, landed clean, not a hair out of place. The dojo buzzed. Jaden's grin faded. His movements got faster, angrier, and that's when it hit them. The ones watching and the ones mocking before. She wasn't just fighting back. She was reading him, downloading him, and she hadn't even struck yet. The match was supposed to be a lesson, a little spectacle to shut the twins down and return the spotlight to the seniors. But the moment Jaden's punch was air and Maya was already behind him, the tone shifted, from cocky to concerned. She moved with terrifying control. No wasted motion, no overreaching. She didn't flinch or panic when Jaden came in, swinging with flurries meant to impress. She simply adjusted, slipped, countered, and smiled. Not mockingly, not cruelly, just calmly, like she'd seen this dance before, like she already knew the rhythm. Jaden snarled and came in heavier, launching a spinning back kick, his go-to move. The room gasped as his foot cut through the air, until Maya stepped just outside its range and let it pass. Then she returned one, not as flashy, not as wide, just precise. Her heel met the center of Jaden's chest with a crack that echoed off the walls. He stumbled back, arms flailing, nearly hitting the mat. He barely caught himself. Silence fell across the dojo. Even the instructor stood up straighter. Maya didn't press the advantage. She just bowed, her breathing controlled, her stance balanced, ready for whatever came next. But Jaden wasn't. His face turned red, not from the impact, but from the humiliation. In front of the whole class, taken down by someone half his size, who hadn't said a single cocky word the entire time. He charged again, wild this time, sloppy. And Maya answered with poetry. A feint, a pivot, a clean block. She slipped past his punch, stepped into his blind spot, and tapped him lightly on the back of the neck. Just enough to let him know, if this were real, it'd be over. That did it. Jaden froze, then backed off. He bowed stiffly, eyes down, fists clenched. He didn't say a word. Neither did Maya. She bowed, turned, and walked back to her place beside Malik, who hadn't moved the entire time. He just nodded once, proud but not surprised. The class was stunned. No one clapped. Not yet, but eyes that once mocked now watched with quiet awe. Because Maya didn't just win the match. She dismantled an ego, with grace, with power, with a silence louder than any roar. Jaden sulked to the sidelines, jaw clenched, his brown belt suddenly feeling heavier than ever. Tyrese and Deshawn stood frozen, their earlier bravado deflating like punctured tires. All the swagger they had leaned on was gone. And the dojo? It was dead silent, until Malik rose. He hadn't moved during his sister's spar, just watched, studied, calculated. Now he adjusted his GI, stepped forward, and calmly addressed the room. Anyone else want to test us? His voice was low, steady, no bite, no brag, just invitation. Tyrese tried to laugh, but it came out thin. You think it 'cause your sister got lucky, you gonna come clean us out too? Malik raised an eyebrow. You think that was luck? Deshawn scoffed and stepped forward. I'll take him. Malik nodded. Gloves or no gloves? Sensei Bryant interjected before things got reckless. Gloves. Controlled sparring. No injuries or we stop it. The room formed a circle again. Malik and Deshawn bowed. One stiffly, one smoothly. From the jump, it was clear. Deshawn was strong, fast, and angry. His kicks thudded against the mat. His punches came quick, trying to overwhelm Malik. He wasn't here to win points. He wanted dominance. But Malik didn't fight like someone proving a point. He fought like someone playing chess. He let Deshawn come to him, slid left, blocked high, parried low. 3 times Deshaun lunged with haymakers. 3 times Malik wasn't there. Stand still, Deshaun growled, throwing a wild hook. This time Malik stepped in, one palm to the wrist, a pivot, then a sweep. Deshaun's feet went skyward. He landed flat on his back. The air left the dojo in a single gasp. Malik didn't follow up. He didn't smirk. He simply offered a hand. Deshaun stared up at him, blinking, humiliation burning hot. But Malik didn't mock. His hand remained extended, an offer of help, not dominance. Deshaun took it. As Malik helped him up, something shifted. Respect. Real respect. The kind you can't fake. The kind earned through pressure and presence. The twins hadn't come to show off. They came to show what quiet strength looks like when you're done being underestimated. And now, even the ones who doubted them were standing just a little straighter. By the end of the second spar, something unspoken had rippled across the dojo floor. It was subtle at first, a shift in posture, a silence that was no longer heavy with judgment, but heavy with recalibration. The twins had said barely a word all class, but their presence had spoken volumes. Jaden sat quietly on the bench, rubbing his ribs where Maya's heel had kissed his chest. Deshaun paced slowly, muttering to himself, his pride bruised but his respect undeniable. Tyrese leaned against the wall, eyes on Malik now not with mockery, but interest. And the white belts? They looked at Maya and Malik the way kids look at superheroes when they step off the page. Sensei Bryant cleared his throat and stood in front of the class. His eyes scanned the students, then landed on the twins. "I don't usually allow new students to spar their first day," he said, "but today was an exception." He looked around the room, letting his words hang. "There's a lesson here, one I hope every belt color heard loud and clear." He turned to Maya and Malik. "You two have trained before?" Malik gave a single nod. "Our grandfather taught us. Every day, before school." For years, Bryant raised an eyebrow. "Name?" "Raymond Holloway." There was a long pause, then a quiet breath from the instructor. "Sensei Holloway," he said, voice suddenly reverent. "The one who taught out in Baltimore? Passed a few years ago?" Maya nodded this time. "He was our guardian, our sensei, our family." A few of the older students exchanged glances, suddenly connecting dots. The discipline, the footwork, the effortless control. Sensei Bryant gave a slow, respectful bow. "Your grandfather trained warriors. I see that now." Jaden stood, stepped forward, and, to everyone's shock, bowed. "Yo, I was out of pocket earlier," he said, not looking up. "You're the real deal, both of you." Therese followed. So did Deshaun. One by one, the seniors who had mocked them that morning were now bowing their heads. Not out of defeat, but humility. Respect wasn't demanded. It was earned. Kick by kick, block by block, without a single boast. And Maya and Malik? Still silent, still composed. But finally, they allowed themselves the smallest smile. They hadn't come for respect, but now that they had it, they'd protect it with everything they had. The sun was dipping low outside the dojo windows, casting golden light across the polished floor as class ended. Students bowed, sweat-soaked and breathless, but there was something different in the air now. It wasn't exhaustion, it was reverence. Maya and Malik stood at the edge of the mat, rolling up their gloves, quiet as ever. Not withdrawn, centered, calm. The kind of calm that comes after a storm when everything's been reset, rebalanced. Sensei Bryant approached them, no longer just curious, but clearly impressed. "Class will be watching you now," he said quietly. "Not because you beat someone, but because you didn't let anyone drag you into their chaos. That's real black belt spirit." Malik nodded. "That's what our grandfather always said. Fight with your mind before your fists." Bryant smiled. "Then I'll expect both of you at advanced training. No more hiding in beginner's class." Maya looked to her brother and he nodded. She turned back to Bryant. "We weren't hiding, just watching." "Then I hope everyone's been watching you," he said, loud enough for the class to hear. And they had. Jaden came over again, his shoulders more relaxed now, his ego no longer barking. Y'all coming back next week? Malik shrugged. Depends. You gonna keep trying to tackle us or actually train? Jaden laughed. I'll train. I promise. Just don't sweep me again in front of everybody. Maya grinned. No promises. Laughter broke out, light and genuine this time. What was once mockery had melted into camaraderie. They weren't just the new kids anymore. They were the new standard. And it wasn't because they were perfect fighters. It was because they carried something bigger. Legacy, restraint, and the quiet kind of confidence that couldn't be faked. As the twins left the dojo, the other students watched them go. Not a sound followed them out, just admiration. Outside, the wind stirred. Maya looked up at the sky. Malik tightened his belt. You think Granddad would have been proud? She asked softly. Malik didn't hesitate. He always was. We just gave everyone else a reason to catch up. And with that, the twins walked off into the evening light. Not just fighters anymore, but the kind of legends people don't forget. Sometimes the fiercest fighters are the ones who say the least, letting their skill and discipline do all the talking. Maya and Malik showed that respect isn't given. It's earned through quiet strength, relentless training, and unwavering focus. Remember, never judge a book by its cover, because the real power often lies beneath the surface.